hello again. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Because last time I did this, my flatmate said that but I have already started. So by the time it starts, I've already started. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted because I know it's the football. I know it's the final. I've just heard next door whooping and screaming. I thought it had only just begun, like now, this minute. But it sounds like some sort of goals have been scored already. I don't know whether they have. I've got this. These are my little balls. They fell off my slippers yesterday. So this is how much interest I have in balls. Footballs. They're not footballs. Little clackers. Dee 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 dee. Ooh, people are setting off fireworks. People are very excited. I probably won't get anybody from Britain watching this because they're all interested in the football. The footy ball. And the Italian people will be watching the footy ball too. Everybody will be watching the football. Except for me and the two people. Hello, two people that have joined me already. Nice to see you. To see you nice. Yes. So there's going to be fireworks going off all the day, all the time. Hello, Kyle G. So, not watching the football, Kyle G. I don't know where you are. No, I am not watching the match with my flatmates, Michelle. Are you watching the match? Because you're here, so probably not. I'm not watching a match with my flatmate because we have no interest in football, as I have said on multiple occasions. The one time that I was interested in football was the 1998 World Cup, where I was like doing some sort of no way. I know, no way. No way you're not. No way you're watching the football, or no way am I not watching the football. Difficult to see. No way am I not watching the football. Yeah, football. Interesting. It's apparently a beautiful game made up of things you kick and then things go on. Hello. So we're just discussing the intricacies of the football or the soccer if you're a British person. It's you go run, 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 and you go kick, and then the balls go wee, and then they go in a goal and everyone goes yay and gets really excited. Very excited. No. I'm glad that some of the people that are watching this have no interest in football. If you're catching this later on, after the fact, if England has won or lost, Italy has won or lost, I think it's Italy and England, I have no interest in it, but I welcome. If you do love football, then hooray for you. Because it's good to have interests. But it's also good to realise that not everybody has the same interests. So football, beautiful. Sports ball, it is. The sportsing balls must be doing very well indeed because the next dooring neighbours are shouting and whooping. And the fireworks, as I said, are firing and working. Very exciting. So I think that probably this time in the next 2 minutes, either Italy or England will have won the game. Because as all I know about football is it lasts 21 seconds. That's how long it lasts. Not 90 minutes plus extra time. No, it lasts 21 seconds. And that's how long football matters. Not 90 minutes plus penalties. No. What's a penalty? I don't know. I know nothing about football. Football. Anyway, one of the teams will win and one of them won't, unless they draw, and then that will be a draw. And if England wins, then England will be very happy. And if England loses, then England will be very not happy. And if Italy loses, they will be very unhappy. And if Italy wins, they will be very happy. So, I'm not English or Italian. What's it to me? It's like, nice, thank you very much. But if I was English or Italian, I'm sure I'd be very interested. But then again, Wales was in the cup, and I didn't watch it then either. So maybe not, because nationalism, what's all that about? Where you're born is where you're born, and where you end up is where you end up, and it's not really You know, this whole sort of, no, this team is the best because it's my area, the place where I was living, in the place when I was born. It doesn't really make much difference, does it? So yes, so that was a very long extended philosophical idea and philosophical discussion about the intricacies of the beautiful game. Which, no, I don't want to, like, pour, what is it, cold water on I can pour cold water on the idea of football, because if you like it, then you like it, and I can't really say anything about that. That's, you know, that's your interest, and what people are interested in is what they're interested in. There's no point going, oh, why are these people interested in that? I'm not interested in that. It's like, of course you're not, because not everybody has to be interested in the same thing. But at the same token, just because I'm not interested in football doesn't mean that I'm a failure because I'm not interested in football. It's just me. But I was once for one brief moment, and then I was like, over that now. So I have watched football, and I know enough that it's a big field, and every time that anyone tries to tell you how much an acre is, they go, it's 2 football fields. Something like that anyway. So that's how I know about football fields. They're about an acre, 2 of them together, about an acre. That might be not right, to be honest, because I'm not sure what an acre is. It's a very old-fashioned term. You don't really... Do you do hectares? I don't know. And I don't have a farm, so I don't know what hectares are. Hectares, are they oldie-fashioned too? And acres? Kilometres. You don't get a farm that's a kilometre by a kilometre. That would be a big farm. Imagine. I'm still looking up places to buy. Like, if I had money, I'd go and buy that. And Italy's quite cheap. So maybe I'll go and live in Italy and be an Italian football supporter, because I've gone to live in Italy in my £8,000 house, which is luxurious. If you try to buy an £8,000 house in the Britain, then you will have nothing. This will be how big your £8,000 house is. And you'll be able to go, I can't stand up in it. But you get a big house if you go to Italy or Bulgaria. Quite big in France, much bigger. You know, you can get some things, they look like they might fall on your head if you try going in them. And you might have to do a lot of plaster work. I was going to say plaster work, but plaster work. I've been told that my flat A's may make people, what's that? It's like I said Petri dish the other day. Somebody says, isn't it Petri dish? And I said, no, it's Petri dish. And then I looked it up, and it turns out that British people do say Petri dish. If you're an American, you say Petri dish. There's different ways to say things, really, isn't there? And there's not a right or a wrong. There's just a way. So there's really no point. That's another thing. That's not how you say things. It's like, well, that's not how you say things. But, you know, some people, and languages developing and ever going. Anyway. Yeah, football. Bang. Boom. Bing. Woo, no, have I just broken my guitar? No. I take it that they haven't had a goal for a little while, because nobody's gone whoopie whoop whoop whoop. 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 Football is a game. Football is a sport. Football is a thing. The language changes. Mark, for instance, a word like, I can't think of a word like thou is rarely used today, but if you said thou, I know what you were saying. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, anyway, that was a stupid song. That wasn't really a song, yes. So, like the word thou, thee and now, we We don't use those. To thine own self be true, you can say. You know what people mean, even though you say that's not what we say these days. It's an evolving language. And also English is a composite language made up of very many. It's made up of a bit of Romance languages and a bit of Frisian, little tiny bit of, there's not really any Welsh or Irish, but I'm sure there's a bit, and other things as well. It's good things. It's a little bit of German and Saxony sort of things come in. So it's a mixture of things, isn't it? Lots of things. And it's, yeah, but that's a weird thing though. The Celtic languages, the Gaelic and the Gallic and the Welsh and the Manx, they haven't really influenced the English language, have they? It is a mongrel language. It's a mongrel language. A lot of people say Welsh is the oldest language in Europe, but then I read something that said no, that's not true, because it's changed and it's not the same as it was. And apparently, I've been learning Welsh, and apparently classical sort of literary Welsh is nothing like the sort of Welsh people use. And also, the trouble is, I'm very scared, and I never used it in public because I found out that there's many different dialects, and I'd be very scared that the one that I'm learning, which is Duolingo, sort of, it's not how people in actual Wales speak, because there's North Wales and there's West Wales and there's Mid Wales and there's South Wales and there's other bits of Wales, North East Wales and North West Wales, and it's all slightly different. And if I went there, I said, for instance, the word moin. The word moin, I didn't learn until quite late in the game. I mean, I've only been learning for like 2 years. Moin means like, but hoffy is the word that you learn when you're trying to learn what word it's. So moin is quite a, that's a sort of south version of hoffy. Dwi'n hoffi coffee. Dwi'n moyn coffee. I like coffee. I do like coffee. It's true. Moin, it's just like, if you look it up, it's not there because it's sort of not quite proper Welsh, but it's what people use. So it's like very much like English. The words that you use aren't the words. And also a lot of borrowed words in Welsh, even though it's this pure language. And you think, because I used to watch Welsh programmes before I could speak Welsh, because S-Bedrec, S4C was what we got instead of Channel 4. You could not get Channel 4 unless you had a big aerial and you pointed it westward home towards the west. You couldn't get it at all. And so I watched S4C and I watched some of the Welsh programmes, not knowing a word of it, and then me and my brother would laugh uproariously whenever an English word came. We go, ha, they haven't even got a word for that. But then it turns out that they have got a word for that. That's the word for it, and actually it's spelt completely different because it's borrowed, and now it is Welsh. It's turned into Welsh. For instance, Caffi. Caffi. Caffi, which is more like the Italian for cafe than the French for cafe. And cafe itself, cafe, it's like, I remember I visited my aunt who had moved to Wales, and she moved from Wales to France and has been, absorbed into the French culture, so much so that she was like, I'm forgetting some of the words. And so what is the English word for cafe again? And I'm like, it's cafe. It's like, it can't be. There must be another word. It's like, no, the English word for cafe is cafe. It's like, but it can't be. There must be an English word for it. It's like coffee shop. But no, you say, internet went down. I don't know how long this is going to last. The internet, that wasn't me freezing up. That was actually the internet completely failing to work. Internet went, and I had to get back to it. So, I've still got 3 people. Welcome. Thank you for staying. What's the noise? What's that noise? Is that England scoring? It sounds like I'm inside an engine. Not sure what's happening there. Anyway, I was just looking at. I've been cleaning up my garden. It's looking great. We're cutting down trees, and I thought I'd found some ivy because there's lots of ivy. It's big fat ivy, and it's like eating up the trees and stuff. And I dug into the ground, and I was like, oh no, there's another ivy. So I was like, that's definitely ivy because it looked like ivy because it looked like what I thought was a root of ivy. So I dug and dug and dug, and I found the end, and it was really long. And then I realised that it was a root of a tree, a normal tree, and that I just spent ages and ages digging up a tree root. But we cut it off anyway because it was very shallow. So probably that tree's going to fall on me next time I go out and go, yeah, that'll teach you for digging up my roots. I mean, it was one root and it's probably got very many more roots. There's too many trees in the garden. But I'm getting there. It's so close. It's the cleanest and clearest it's ever been. All the blackberries are gone, almost all of them. But the ivy is still very, very, very much there. And I made my way to the garage, because the garage was all completely covered in ivy. I mean, it was just like really ridiculous. It was really, you couldn't see it. And when I cut some of the ivy, I realised there was about 4 foot of ivy between me and the door. And then I opened the door, and there was all spiders' webs inside. And I did film it, but I haven't got around to film. I haven't put anything up about my garden because I've just been like, oh, I can't really be bothered to do any of this. I'm just like, oh. But I've spent a lot of time actually doing manual labour and digging things up and cutting things down, and I'm completely covered in scratches and dirt and all the. I've had a lovely bath, but I was covered in dust and all these yellow butterflies flew out. It was like, you know when you get cartoons of people opening their purse and moths fly out? Well, that was pretty much like what happened, except butterflies flew out of the ivy. Hello, are you still here? Hello, old school gaming. Are you just here or you've just come back? Anyway, so I've got 4 people, which is very nice. Everyone must thumbs me up. That sounds wrong. And subscribe, and then apparently this is what everyone else does. I never do this because, and that's why I've got very few. I mean, my subscriber base is flatlined. It's been pretty much the same for like 10 years. It's like it went wee, and then it went it went wee, and then it went woo, and then it went wee, and then it went woo. Anyway, because apparently most of my early subscribers that are still subscribed it was before they had the little bell, so they never know when I make it's disheartening. I'm like, should I make a video? It's like nobody watches it anyway, nobody cares, nobody gets told when they are, because nobody's pressed the little bell to let them know. So, I mean, I haven't uploaded very much lately because it was just like, nobody's going to watch it anyway, what's the point? But yeah, I've been watching other people's YouTube videos, and they're all like, oh, be sure, they stop and they go, be sure to click like. Thank you, 2 people click like, and then subscribe, and then press the little bell, and then they make a little bell icon, and they put the little bell, and it's like, and then you'll know when I've uploaded stuff, which is not as often as it would have been, although I was looking at all the videos that people have watched, and it tends to be old ones, really old ones, like the one about the canyon, and the one about Newport, that a lot of people are like, oh, you're so scathing about Newport. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm just going around going, this is Newport. It's Newport's scathing about Newport. It's like, not me that's scathing. It's done it to itself. It's not my fault. And also and old live streams. I'm like, oh, people watching the old live. Anyway, it's just do you? Oh well, I don't know. Maybe you're just lucky. Maybe you've subscribed more recently. I don't know. Maybe you've accidentally clicked the bell. I don't really know how people know, because, some of my earlier subscribers that have been subscribed for years and haven't unsubscribed and are still presumably active, so then, they didn't cull the dead accounts. That, you're not supposed to say words like that because you get demonetized if you say, he's like, and this is it, you got to be so careful about the words you use, and people will go, oh, I'm going to say this word, but I'm going to take the vowels out, and if you take the vowels out, then it's the same, even though I've said the word, and it's just like censorship, isn't it? Censorship on YouTube, it's terrible. Anyway, so I probably will, anyway. So, thank you. Good, I'm glad. Thank you, Marty. That's very nice. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff is hanging around. All the stuff that I got a lot of traction on that people watch is stuff that's been around for years and years. And all the stuff that's new, very disheartening, because nobody watches it. Except maybe 5 years in the future somebody might see it and I'll go, oh, I got some views this week. I never got any when I uploaded it. It takes that long to And I'm going just a Julia there because I wrote the thing for Loki about Loki for Spooky History Channel, right? And I looked at that, and then I got fed on my feed 2 videos about Loki and the history of Loki, about all the things that he gets up to and the sort of things that about Norse myth. 2 things very similarly, the same themes about what I read. Now I read that a while ago and it's on the Spooky History Channel, and I probably haven't promoted it as much as I should have done. But these 2, after the one that I gave the script to, have got thousands of views. The Spooky History thing that I contributed to has got 42 views, and 2 of them are me looking at it going, why has it only got 40 views? It's the same subject. Now, I think it's possibly because the Spooky History Channel hasn't really caught on to putting the right keywords and stuff, but I don't know what the right keywords and stuff are, so I can't go, oh, this is what you should do in order to get a fan base, in order to get people watching it, because I don't know anymore. It's changed. It's all completely different, so I've got no clue what people want and why people watch things. But I was a bit resentful that 2 things that look exactly the same as what I contributed to have got all these views, but they are well-established channels. It's just like, oh, this is so frustrating. Why do people... Whoa. Watch mine. Spooky History. Loki. It's called Marvelous Loki, which is a bit of a pun because it's made by Marvel, but it's all about the history of the actual mythology and the and I've gone back to the source, and it's good, and it's all the things that Loki did, and his many identities, or their many identities, because they are pretty fluid, is Loki, and that is canon. That is actually, if you go all the way back, that's actually how it was. And so, yeah, so that's cool. Anyway, that's what the 2 videos were about, but they were more blatantly about it, whereas mine was just because that's what Loki is. It's just, I was just mentioning it because that's Loki. That's Loki for you. What a scamp. Anyway, I'm enjoying that. It's on Disney Plus, and you should watch that. But I also enjoy writing for the Spooky History, but I don't enjoy doing stuff that nobody watches. That's why I'm like, oh, what's the point? My hair's going all over the place. I did wash it, and it's gone a bit funny. But yeah, it's gone fuzzy. That's it. I'm getting things from somebody's trying to get into their Instagram account, and I thought, oh, it's somebody trying to get into my Instagram account. So I followed the links and changed the password, and then I realised it wasn't my Instagram account. It's just somebody else with the same name as me, and I'm like, oh, that's not my baby pictures. That's not my Instagram account. Oh no. But they should really have thought about that and not given my email address and use my name. I'm assuming it is their name too, but not use my email address. And now, so I'm like, oh, well, there's no way to contact you and say, hey, here's your Instagram account back, because you've used my email address. So that's not my fault, really. Anyway, so I looked at my Instagram account, which I don't post to very much because, again, I don't know what to do with Instagram. And I saw a picture from about 2 years ago of me in the garden, before I cleaned up the garden, but it was still looking better than it was before I cleaned it up 2 years ago. You could get into it, whereas it couldn't. Well, I can't contact one of their friends because I don't know. There's only like 4 pictures on it, and one of them's a baby. I can't contact the baby. I don't know who the baby is. But the point is, my Instagram account's barely there, and also, I look so much older than I did 2 years ago. I'm like, oh. And also, 2 years ago, at this time of year, exactly this time of year, I had a handful of lovely blackberries. Now, granted, I've cut down all the blackberries in my garden, but these lovely blackberries were from hedgerow blackberries, because I'd gone looking, and the blackberries in my garden never yielded any blackberries anyway. They were just annoying and spiny. They didn't actually, there were some blackberries last year that almost ripened, and I was looking at them for ages going, well, I'll leave the blackberry bushes until those ripen, because at least I have some blackberries. And they never ever ripened. They just stayed there being green. Just pointless. So, but 2 years ago, there was fresh, lovely blackberries everywhere. Juicy. Lovely, delicious, and I collected them and I ate them and it was so nice. And there's none now. And also, I looked younger and fresher. So 2 years ago, I looked younger and fresher and I ate blackberries. And now, I'm a complete and utter total mess and I have got no blackberries. Life's hard. Ooh, I don't know what that noise was. Yeah. So, I've got 2 weeks left and I'm going to go to Wales. Hopefully. And then I'm going to do my Edinburgh show from Wales. Ha 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 ha. Oh, this is another thing, right? I was looking up comedy festivals and things because somebody mentioned the Buxton Festival. And I was convinced that I'd gone to Buxton. And I saw, because I also saw somebody say about the DVD or the Blu-ray of Star Trek, the first one. What's the first Star Trek called? Not the first that was made. Star Wars. What am I talking about? Star Wars. I can't even get the right... Oh, what am I like? Star Wars. I'm completely confused about everything. Star Wars. I saw the first Star Wars in the new batch, the second batch of Star Wars, the middle batch of Star Wars that was actually the earlier batch of Star Wars. Very confusing. The first Star Wars that was really the fourth Star Wars. I thought I saw that in Buxton, but I couldn't have seen that in Buxton because Buxton's in Derbyshire, and I must have travelled there from Ross-on-Wye for some reason, and I was absolutely convinced that I'd been there and I'd seen Star Wars in Buxton, but I couldn't have done. Maybe it was Malvern, which is another water, and I got confused. But then I looked up Malvern and I was like, I have no recollection of this Malvern. And now I'm like, I don't know where this is. I'm pretty sure that I went to somewhere where there had been a festival that I just missed about when the Star Wars was released. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wish I was doing comedy because I hadn't been at the time. And then I could do this festival. And I'm like, well, what festival was this? I don't know where this was. I don't know what it was. I'm pretty sure that I did see Star Wars in the cinema at this place, but I don't know what this place was. And I was like, I have dreams about a place that's a very specific place. And I'm like, oh, maybe it was this place. And I'm like, maybe I dreamed it. Maybe I haven't actually seen Star Wars. And then I'm like, I'm sure I have, because I remember seeing it and going, oh, but this race scene is exactly the same as the race scene in Viva Las Vegas. And they ripped off Viva Las Vegas. And then Anakin Sidewalk, that's not his name, Anakin Skywalker was Elvis Presley, basically. And then so I suppose that Jar Jar Binks was Anne Margaret in that case. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's the same film. So maybe I've just seen Viva Las Vegas and I've got it confused with Star Wars. That is perfectly... Yeah, that might be what happened. And I've never seen Star Wars at all. And the whole thing about the trading scene and the trade wars at the beginning, that was probably some sort of dream as well. That never happened. There wasn't weird aliens going on for 25 minutes about the trade blockade. I'm pretty sure I have seen Star Wars. But where is the point? Because not where I thought it was. Where did I see it? And I was with my parents, so we must have gone on a day trip. I'm like, what was that? Where was that? How was that? When was that released? Was it like 1999? Something like that. I don't know what's going on anymore. Maybe I didn't see it at all. Maybe it was later than that. I'm very confused. All I know is football's on now. At this moment I'm talking and nobody's whooped and cheered for half an hour, so maybe we've already lost. And that's the end of that. Oh, sad. I say we. I'm not saying we. I'm not we. I'm not even English. We. I'm including the we because I'm living in England. I count. When is the football on? The football's on at this moment in time. If you'd have tuned in at the beginning, you probably would have heard people whooping and cheering and all the fireworks going off. So I suppose that's the end of that, and I will say a fond farewell. But I tell you what I've got coming this week. You'll never guess what. Is it a mystery box of food, Elise? It might be. Another mystery box of food? Really? It's like, well, I can't stop getting them. Maybe I'll get the the pinnacle of food boxes. When I get the perfect one, I'll stop. But until that day, until that precious day, I'll just have to keep going. The elusive Shangri-La of food boxes. The food box to top them all. The holy grail of food boxes. Pig's feet variety. Maybe I'll have that. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe that's what it'll be. A big box of pig's feet. And I'll go, what? I'm hoping not. Because that'll be horrible. And it is supposed to be slightly food that's past its sell-by date, or stuff that they order too much of, or it's in the wrong package and stuff like that. I mean, I've got stuff that is within 2 years before it's out of date, so that's fine. It's just obviously it wasn't very popular. So it'll be unpopular food that nobody wanted, and stuff that is past its sell-by date, but not completely horrible. Hopefully, although I did get some pork scratchings from it once, and the person that ate the pork scratchings was like, so pork scratchings apparently, once they're past their use-by date, you should probably not eat them because they taste like hell. Apparently. So don't do that. But that's okay, because I haven't ordered pork scratchings, so that's fine. Why would you eat pork scratchings? They're bits of old pig skin. Apparently delicious. I'm acting like I've never eaten pork scratchings. I've eaten pork scratchings. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do it now. But I have. As I said, I do not eat meat usually. They are lovely, to be honest. I've eaten them in the past. I'm like, I go out of my way not to eat like meat and stuff like that. But every now and then I'm like. So the person that said they were horrible. The person that said the pork scratchings were horrible. That person was me. So I did know that. And then I learnt my lesson and went, well, I was trying to do eating the vegetarian-y food and not eating the pork scratchings-y food. It's very bad that I ate it in the first place, and I shouldn't have ordered it. It was my own fault that it was horrible, because I shouldn't have ordered it. That was my punishment. It was disgusting. It was nasty. So don't eat them past their sell-by date. But I think they probably are delicious when they're fresh. But I haven't eaten fresh ones for a while because I made the terrible mistake of eating expired ones, and they were horrible. Anyway, I'm going to leave you. I'm back again. I cut out, but I am here. It says I've been live for 14 minutes. Have I? I don't know. Am I here? Am I there? I don't know. I have no clue anymore. I'm just going to say goodbye. So yeah, bye-bye. After I've made this terrible confession of eating the bad pork. Bye-bye. Yeah. Hello. Bye-bye.